Hi, and welcome to the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. On this podcast, you are going to learn jargon-free tips about mastering your mindset, starting your business, or marketing your business, all for free. I'm your host, Matthew Toman, and I want to make it as easy as possible for you to take control of your life by teaching you skills that actually matter in today's world. So now, let's get started with today's show. Welcome back to the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. On today's show, I'm joined by online influencer, Conor Ryan. Conor has many different businesses which have all been built through his Instagram page and his TikTok page, between his Buddy Cup, a coffee shop, Ireland Yums, Ireland Stays, and working with so many other brands that I would find I'd struggle to find anybody in Ireland who could keep up. So thank you so much, Conor.
Thanks for having me.
So how did you get into online marketing, businesses, all of that kind of stuff?
I'd say it was just the falling in love straight away with a phone. I was addicted to numbers, not money, so I don't know. Well, I am addicted to money as well, I'd say, but definitely with just the thought of always having more than anybody else followers online and just kind of continuously pushing myself and chasing myself. When I was in school, I had a phone. I can't remember exactly the first time I had a phone, but it was like a flip up Samsung. Then I had a Nokia, but you could see how many texts you've sent in the phone. So when I see how many texts, I always wanted to grow that number. So I always kind of reflect on that side of it as if that number has grown, and then I just fell in love with social media. So I wanted that number to grow, and it just all kind of came together at once. I'm blessed.
And see, whenever social media is kind of hard and daunting for anybody to get into. Whenever you started getting into it, social media came out obviously before, whenever you had a phone, smartphones.
Yeah.
Did you know from the start, okay, this is something did it just sort of come on you? Like, what did you think whenever social
media? I was addicted to it, and I wanted to continuously be doing it and be on my phone and talking away to myself. Well, not talking away to myself, but I never thought it would actually be a way of creating some sort of career or an income, whereas I don't have to work elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's
what did
crazy.
You think it was at the start?
I just thought it was kind of like a hobby.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like just going to go and play football Tuesdays and Thursdays and then playing a match on a Sunday. I know it's quite two differences, but it's kind of like that, just browsing away and just being an actual pastime. But since then it's kind of just evolved into my full life of every day with all the different businesses I've touched on. It's just,
I know. And so with the businesses that you've got, obviously, we've seen them online, so they're growing all the time. And I know there's constantly business ideas that you come up with, that you're talking about.
Some nonsense.
And some stuff. I think you got to just throw as much shit at the wall as possible. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I've plenty you've touched on a few businesses there, but there's plenty more that I've brought out that have been complete failures. So
let's talk about those, right? Because so many people at the time that are sitting right now and have like a business idea, or they're like, do you want to know what? I want freedom. To work wherever I want and do whatever I want, but they're afraid to make the first jump. They look at you, a couple of 100,000 followers across all your platforms, and they say, oh yeah, it's easy for him. But what failures have you had, or lessons, I like to call this?
Well, you have to kind of start somewhere, and if you have this idea in your head, and if you just keep sleeping on it week in and week out, there's no doubt that someone else is going to have that idea somewhere along the way, somewhere around the world, and go after it then, and they may either have a huge loss or a huge success, so you just have to take the jump at it. Failure-wise businesses, I have brought out so many things. I brought out a clothing brand. I'm huge into my clothes, huge into my appearance, and as we know with cosmetic fairies and T1 and fairies, I love looking after myself. So I brought out my clothes, but I brought my name on it. And I feel like that if I didn't bring my name to it, it was called Conor Clothing. If I didn't put CONR, I think it was because I want to brought it out. If I hadn't have done that, it would have been a huge success, but it's a learning curve, and I know when I do go back to it, in which I will someday, to bring out a clothing brand.
Why do you think someone was put off by your name?
Put off by my name? Well, it's just but their own opinion of myself, of course. But it's just a weird one. Like, would you walk around if your name was Conor and your name was Matthew? Would you walk around with Matthew on your clothes? It's just it's a catch a little bit. But definitely, if I shouldn't have done it, because I kind of came if I had kept going and moving forward, I would have came to a bit of a standstill with saying how many times can you put Conor on a different bit of clothes? There was no kind of standout logo. There was no graphics. So.
Oh look, it was exactly the same for me. Whenever I was opening Bankhouse, I was going to call my company Matthew Toman Productions. But then, as I was thinking about it, I want to sell that company at some point. Do you know what I mean? So how can I sell my own name? How can I sell myself? Do you know what I mean? It's not possible. So then I built a business that doesn't even have my name on the website. Do you know what I mean? It's totally independent of me, but it's mine.
That's a huge thing that the penny kind of only dropped at me, that how am I going to sell my own branded names, clothes, without them changing it? And if I wanted to change it, I should have done it myself. But learning curve, moved on from that, then brought out CR Whitening, which was another just jump of ship to try and just create revenue from, which was good, which was very good. But again, my name was on it. My name was on it, and I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I did it, you know? It's like I don't have any sort of things going on in my head of ideas that was like, oh, see you're white and Conor clothing. Like, I'm not that silly, you know? So I will never do that again.
But I think you have to like learn, and that's the thing that you want to learn. And if someone's listening to this right now and you're going to bring out a brand, don't put your name on, because build a brand around it, build something that's marketable and can be sold to someone.
Oh, definitely. Don't take the easy option. There's plenty of just time and put effort into the name that you think is going to stick and attract everyone. Not just
so Buddy Cup is a completely different kettle of fish. Like there is, every time I open my Instagram, it seems like you're opening another one.
I know. I need to slow down because I'm absolutely shattered. But the Buddy Cup still, I don't know why, I should have called it Buddy Clothing because my mum used to call me Buddy all the time. And that kind of then reflected, even primary school, she called me Buddy, like, come on, Buddy, this and that. So that then brought into secondary school, my nickname was Buddy, everyone was calling me that. So when I was sitting down to create the name for the Buddy Cup, I wasn't going to call it the Conor Ryan Cup, but I had up some mad, stupid, fishy, quirky names. But then Buddy came to me, and then I was like, the Buddy Cup still has some sort of meaning behind it that it means something to me, and it's not.
How important is it for whenever you bring out a brand, or whenever you're working with somebody, or if you're bringing out something yourself, that you're actually into it, where it's not just about revenue and money?
It's a hard one. It's a very hard one because I'm so attracted to money. So it's really hard to find the balance. But what I've kind of pushed away from is having my own sort of revenue incomes now. So it's food related, fashion related, and of course then the Buddy Cup related as well. So I've kind of just narrowed myself in. At one stage I was doing absolutely everything for a couple of £100 here, a couple of £100 there, and I was just looking like a sellout online. People probably still call me a sellout online. That's fine, that's their own opinion of me, but I've really narrowed it down, and that's when I felt that by narrowing it down and being more real online, that's my like views go up, my impressions go up, people are engaging with me, replying back to stories.
It's like, for me, it's far more authentic, you know?
Exactly.
If you like niche down into something, you take an expert, like what we teach in the Mindset and Marketing Academy is like, you're already the expert. There's something within your life that you love, that you're passionate about.
Exactly.
That you want to say, okay, this is something that I can then turn that passion and profit, or turned into a profitable business.
Yeah.
You know, so now we're in the Buddy Cup, and whenever you do have touched on, whenever it's not authentic, it doesn't resonate with people as much. And I think that is what a lot of people struggle with whenever they're jumping onto social media, because they're trying to be somebody else. Exactly. What would you say to that person?
Just try not look at it as a quick buck, and be your own person. You know, if you do have this, as you said, if you're interested in something, go after that and do it in your own way so you stand out from the crowd. If you're in a, like, I even feel like the coffee business now at the moment is so saturated. I feel like the podcast thing is so separated. Think of an idea that you're going to be doing the same sort of thing but standing out in your own way. And I feel like if you do stand out your own way, people are going to notice more, and people are going to be more intrigued to what you're kind of doing. But especially just being more authentic would be the main thing to be doing online.
So whenever you're starting out and you've grown a social media following, got 1,000 followers, couple of thousand followers, when is the time to take it seriously and say, okay, this is something that I can potentially monetize? And if so, what would you say? How does somebody do that?
Well, I think if you have a couple of thousand followers, you have a serious audience there. No matter, even if it's 2,000, 3,000. And I feel like that if you're really against doing it, fine. But if you're half in love with it, half not in love with it, go for it. You know, who would turn down to be doing something they love online by just being yourself and still having the option then to make extra money on it? You never know what's going to come from it. And even if it's not about money and you're passionate about it, just give it 100% and go for it now.
And what do you think about like imposter syndrome? Like somebody who thinks that like they shouldn't be there, they're not actually as good as what they think?
See, that's just self-doubts and self-worrying, which I have in myself as well. So it's just kind of getting out of your own comfort zone and giving it a go. If you don't give it a go, you'll never really know. So if you're just continuously looking at it and saying, I'm going to give it a go today, and you push it to the side, you're just never going to know. So just give it a go. And at least then you can say you gave it a go, and you don't like it, you don't feel 100% doing it, and then you'll backtrack on it then as well, you know.
With one of your stays, or with one of your pages, Ireland Yums, so it's been interesting how you grew that. And I know we've had like another chat about this totally separately, just about how you actually grew that page and how it was all given value first before you even considered potentially taking money from it.
Yeah, of course, that was a long process. So I came home from Toronto with the idea. There was a page over there called Toronto's Finest, and we would go every Sunday, we'd go onto this page. Now this page was all about luscious treats. So we'd go somewhere for a mad ice cream. You know, when you see these things in America and Canada, they're always way ahead of us. So it was deadly to be doing this thing. But then we came home and I said, there was nothing like this at home. So I said, I'll give it a go. When I came home from Toronto, I had no job. So I set up the page. I had a decent following. I think I had 15,000 followers on my own page. So I tried to bounce them all off each other to grow them all together. Set up the page, started to go to food restaurants just to create content, paying out my own pocket and creating it. This was before TikTok even. And then I got to the stage whereas then I was getting from getting paid for the food, paying for the food, gifting the food, so getting the food for free, which again people will give out about, but it's keeping the money in your pocket, so you're kind of making money. Yeah. And then I got to the stage then where I built a larger audience, whereas I was pitching them how I was doing in other places. This is what they're getting off the back of it. This is the views, this is the likes, this is the increase in their following. And then I can pitch to them how much I want. And I have a pitch that I send to everyone. It's been the same price over the last 3 years, and it's grown 20,000 followers, I'd say, in the last couple of years alone. And it's just kept at the same price because it's a realistic price. I'm interested in what I'm doing. I'm happy with that price, and I'm happy being busy.
How important is it to like give value first, like giving value on your pages for free? So, for example, I worked for a production company for 2 years for free, like, and I loved it. I never even wanted money off them. Yeah. You know, I got a lot of thanks off them. They were very grateful for everything that I had done with them. But I was glad to just do it because I was learning and taking it in, and you know, I'm finding now. It's kind of, not that I want anybody to work for free, but it's insane where people are looking to enter into the workplace.
Just straight away looking for money?
Well, they're looking for money, but I think it's even sometimes the level that they want to go in. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, you've got a bit of work to do.
See, when you worked for free though, were you making revenue though or income elsewhere?
I was on the dole.
So even at that though, you're not, like, what you're saying is there, you don't want people to just not do anything. You obviously have to make money. You have to eat,
you have to live, right? Yeah. You have to live. So it's either like you have a job. I crashed and burned in the last recession. You know what I mean? I had houses and blew up and bust, right? Went absolutely broke and ended up on unemployment from the 1st of August 2012 to the 1st of August 2014. And in those 2 years, I went to acting classes. I went to produce movies behind the scenes and learned everything that I could so that I could open a movie. But I only had €188 a week, which actually in the south of Ireland isn't much money, but in other parts of the world is loads.
It's loads, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you be on the dole and move to another country?
No, I didn't actually. I lived I found I'd done a bit of dog walking on the side, I'm not going to lie. I my rent was expensive, but I always found money for drink. You know, that was one thing around that time.
Fans as well then?
I wasn't out then. Imagine it was. My life would be, this podcast would be a completely different story.
But definitely, if you have your own source of income and you're doing something but you're passionate about something else that you want to turn a hobby or a pastime into money, start off by doing it for free. You can't just jump into it and start demanding it. If I did that on the food page, for example, from the get-go, I'd still be left scratching my head saying, why do I have no content? You know, you have to be scared and you have to be willing to put the money in. So you think in your head that the outcome is going to be income back to you. Yeah.
Time investment, all of that.
And as you said, learning as well. Learning along the way.
Whenever I first contacted you, you actually worked in AIB. You're like, I'll ring you back. I'm in work.
No, I hated it because I was trying to do everything then between while I was in work. That was affecting how I was performing in work, and then I was just continuously just like, what's going on? There's so much going on.
So you just nowhere was really succeeding?
Nowhere was really succeeding. Then I left AIB and went through a recruitment agency, and that job was like exactly what I wanted to do. It still is exactly what I want to do if everything did come turn around. It was basically if you had a job for me in AIB, I'd go in, but I'd speak on my stories just like what I do now, promoting the job. So I was like, lovely, this is right up my street.
It was a combination of both?
Exactly. And I was on my phone all day. So even as I was on my phone all day, I could be doing my own thing. As well. And then obviously COVID came and they closed down. No one was hiring because no one was working. I went actually on the COVID payment for a few weeks. I actually thought it was loaded on the COVID payment. The $350 a week though, I was like, this is cushy. Then I said, no, I'm not doing this anymore, no. So I actually came off that then, came up with the idea for the Buddy Cup and just went full steam ahead.
I watched it unfold online. Do you know, I watched the way you were drawing out your business plan on a notebook, and it's funny, everything that I do is just like, I've always got a notebook and I'm always jotting things down with pen. And you know, whenever I was watching you doing that, I thought it was quite interesting, just the way you were, because I was saying it is so basic. What do you need? You know, what do you think you need for a business?
Well, the way, just from the past, I still don't know if I did it right, but just the way I did about it, I thought of the name, I thought of what I need to buy, so I needed to buy the trailer, then I need to get a location, and I just ticked them off one by one, all the legal parts, the insurance, the HACCP training that I needed to get, the staff. It was just an ongoing list, and I just went full steam ahead because I had so much time. You know, if I was still working in AIB, I don't think I would have done that. You know, so that's what I mean, taking the risk. Bit of a blessing, COVID.
Whenever I was on unemployment, I could have got a job and went back working as a refrigeration engineer. But I knew that that's not what I wanted for my life. No. You know inside what you're meant to do or what you're meant to be doing or what you have potential of doing. I knew there was more that I could give or offer or do.
More to achieve.
And that's it. So let's just jump back in there again quickly, right? So if someone's got a business idea now, what would you say that is the first thing they need to do?
If someone has a business idea that they want to...
Selling hoodies.
Hoodies.
Oversized hoodies.
Sit down, put the phone away and get out that notepad. I use a whiteboard now at home. I've evolved basically. I have the whiteboard now at home. You know, it's not a digital whiteboard now, but it does the job. So basically just draw around it, hoodie brand, names, get the names going. Get the laptop out, start creating designs. Start social media, of course. Start growing that page well before you're going to open. Get the followers over on the page. Businesses text me as well on Instagram, whereas they're going to, we're launching next week. You go onto the page, they have 14 posts, they have 33 followers, and they're following 400. It's not going to work. They think it's just going to just blow up like that. You have to be willing to get everything behind it, get so much momentum going in your own self and online then to make sure it's going to take off. But back to the question, sorry, because I keep wondering.
No, jump off at anything like that there. We'll come back to it with the question in a second. So launching a page, 34 followers, following 400, thinking that the world's going to fall into line and your product's going to sell out.
Exactly, the dream.
What do they need to do?
They need to be thinking ahead of what's working for other places. Why are they working? If you have a hoodie brand, you need to be giving those hoodies out to people to be wearing months before. Where'd you get that t-shirt? Oh, it's not out just yet. Creating hype, saying I can't wait for that date. Forcing down the neck of all your followers that this is the launch date. Getting them to buy, getting them to pre-order, and just
you've now got the following, right? But if someone has 34 followers, do you think their first step should be, once they got their product and stuff ready, they know what they're selling and they know the price point and all that, do you think that the next thing they need to be doing is working with other influencers?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I only answered this question the other day actually in a question box. How do you get a brand out there? Or how do you get anything out there at the moment? It's all through social media. There's no point putting it in the paper. There's no point putting it on the radio. I just think that's a complete waste of money now. I think it's just basically getting people to wear it so they can visualise it in front of them, and it's all through the phone.
If you had no followers, would you work in collaboration with influencers?
Absolutely. It's the only way. Giveaways, content, and again, be willing to give away whatever it costs, because it's the only way that's going to get followers.
Well, actually, with that being like given away at any cost, years ago people would have got a billboard, they would have got a radio ad, they would have got yellow pages, that all costs money. It's like taking that budget and putting it over there. So back to the business idea. So you've got the whiteboard, you said, okay, here's the name, here's the social media. What else would you be doing if you had that business idea in your head right now?
I'd probably be asking for advice of people around me like yourself. Plenty of people that have already set up their business. How did they do it? And just take it all. You know, to follow exactly what they did and like as if it's gospel. Like you just have to go after and just tick the boxes one by one. Don't try to do it all at once. Take your time with it. Don't rush into it. And just, as I said, just know exactly the following line, what you're doing. Creating the brand, creating the logo, getting samples, sending them out to people, getting feedback, and just following it down. I'm sure all this advice is online.
Oh yeah, it is. And how important, in your opinion, is consistency? Oh,
consistency is key, especially where I am, even with all my businesses now. There's not a day, I'd say in the last, it could be 6-7 years, whereas my page hasn't had a post up, hasn't had a story up. I feel like I'm letting myself down if I don't post. So consistency and getting eyes on you. Because again, back to why I fell in love with social media, I like people looking at me at what I'm doing. So continuously checking how many people are looking at me. But with regards to the Buddy Cup, if I'm not consistent on that page, letting people know they're open. Same people might look at the same stories every single day and I'm telling them open, but if I don't post to let them know or get the Buddy Cup somewhere in their brain, they're going elsewhere. Loss of sale, loss of a follower, loss of so many different things. So you just need to be consistent, active, and just continuously just pushing down people's necks. That
is like, something that I am crap at with social media, with my own business. Like Bankhouse Media is, we're flat out all the time. A lot of it is referrals, and we use a lot of paid traffic. Like Google Ads and Facebook and retargeting and all that. And I was even looking and thinking, whenever I'm going to our own social media, I was thinking we only started. I think we posted it yesterday for the first time in like 4 months or something, probably. But we're at capacity as well, so there's a lot going on there. But I do want to grow that business in a different direction.
Yeah, but see, if you weren't busy and you weren't getting the referrals and work wasn't coming to you, the first thing you'd jump back to do would be posting on social media to get the jobs in.
Oh, I done a podcast with Evan Doherty, right? And we were laughing because back in 2014, 15, 16, whenever I was starting out, he was starting out pretty much the same time with his own studio on Georgia Street. We were laughing because we both looked far busier online. than we actually were, and now it's the total reverse.
Yeah.
We're flat out, and it looks like our businesses aren't even open sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
But then I'm caught between, on the other side of that, I would, look that I'm flat to the mat, but I wouldn't be, you know, and it's like, Jesus, he's everywhere at once, which I could be, but if I look that way, it's going to attract businesses saying that other people are working with me, that they say, oh, he's doing this for X, Y, and Z, we should be doing it with him.
Oh, yeah.
And I could be doing absolutely sweet nothing. Like, you know.
Well, I tell you this much, we work with you, obviously, you're one of our contractors, I don't know what we'll call it, but I know the power on your page. Do you know what I mean? From the brands that we have, like one of the question boxes we put up for, I think it was a free consultation, we got 185 leads in 24 hours. Like for me, that is a lot. That was pretty much for a part of our retainer, but it was for free leads for me.
Exactly.
And then we were able to close like a solid percentage of those. Do you know what I mean? So I know how valuable that actually is. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the podcast and have a chat, because I know online, like certain people, a lot of people would have an opinion of you that might be negative in some way, or you get a lot of abuse at times. And I think it's funny, like actually whenever I read through it, I know it's not me personally that's actually having to being said about me, and if it was, be a completely different story. But I never take it really seriously whenever I read the stuff about you. You know, if you do, how does that land with you?
I'd be wrong in saying that it doesn't get to me at times. It definitely does get to me, but it's just trying to find, like just trying to sit back and look at me as what I've kind of become at the moment. I've gone too deep in now, whereas
you can't get out.
There's no going back, really, you know. People are always going to have their opinion on me, but in my eyes then, when I do sit back and I do get into my fields and I do get upset, I sit back then and say, I'm actually doing everything that I've always wanted to do. I only had this conversation with Darren yesterday. For me to say 15 years ago, what would you like to do when you're older, and be like getting paid to eat food, I'd snap the hand off it and do it. So for people to go online and say they don't like the way I eat chicken wings, get over it. You know, like that'd be my least worries. I'm not changing how I eat chicken wing for this person online that's sitting behind the screen looking at what I do. That the people that still have these bad opinions of me cannot stop looking at me. You know, if I had this opinion of you that you're like so annoying, so irritating, the way you do this, the way you do that, the first thing I do would be to block you. But they actually physically can't, because they're that obsessed with having like a say on how they feel about me, which is to some regard promoting me. So people are looking at this and saying, who's Conor Ryan? They're going to my page, and then they're like, oh geez, he's actually all right. You know, like, so
and how important is that to have that controversy to grow online? Like, how important, like, if people are setting out today, do they have to be like that?
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. It's just a bracket that I fell into. You know, I'm always up for the crack. I'm always up for a laugh. So it's just the way it's fell into it. Whereas drama has followed with it. And it's had huge pros, has many cons.
What's the first thing you do whenever drama kicks in?
Put my page on private. Put my Instagram page on private, because people then would be looking to find out what's going on. And all these people that would obviously be so nosy would like to come onto my page and just have a look and then go off. But if they're coming on to have a look at the page, they have to follow me. And the majority of them would unfollow, but I'd keep a percentage of them, so at least I'm getting some sort of positive out of it, you know?
And then, so that's the thing. A lot of people are just afraid of that. You know, a lot of people are afraid of just all the hate. I think I'm not on TikTok that much, right? It's just, I've got my Instagram down to like less than an hour a day, which is insane because it's my job as well. But with TikTok, is it worse? Is it a bit more vicious, do you think, in the comments?
Yeah, I just still think it's mad. I've said this probably on every single podcast, whereas you can just set up a Facebook, you can set up a Twitter, you can set up an Instagram, all without putting your passport on it or your PPS number to just reflect like, right, Matthew, you have your page set up here. You can't set up a different thing unless it's under your own name, but as a business name. I think it's bizarre. Because if you go on to, Darren was mentioning it today as well, if you want to Paddy Power, you have to put in all sorts of details. You can't just set up a fake Paddy Power account. So I just think it should be kind of some crossover, and I don't know why it's not. Do you think that the need the trolls for it to grow? You know, do you think maybe people wouldn't engage in much if people thought it was them? Like, do you think if in the grand scheme of everything? I don't think they need the trolls. No, I think it'd be a bit mad to say that, because if the troll was...
I'm not talking about you as a business, but I'm talking about social media as a whole.
Just to be kind of controversy and just keep it
to keep
interesting.
People engaging, because people are going to engage more if they're anonymous.
Yeah.
If they're not anonymous, maybe they won't. Maybe instead, where some posts might go viral and there might be 1,000 anonymous posts on calling some girl everything for like altering a post or altering her, Facetune or something. To where if they didn't have that, if they didn't have the no, if it wasn't anonymous, would there be as many comments? And then in the grand scheme of the social media companies, they kind of need that amount of engagement.
So you think it kind of just all fizzles off and everyone kind of just gets on with the trolls until something mad happens, you know? And I just say, I'd love to sit down and hear this type of conversation between the head executives of all the things and why they haven't done that. And they probably have good reasons, and you'd probably be left saying, right, that's fair enough, but...
I think in a way they need them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, if someone wants to comment, and as hard as that is for the person that's there, there wouldn't be as many comments on social media if everybody was exposed.
But I'd still think I'd love to I'd rather get death off a person where you go onto the page and see their pictures, see they're living an everyday life, rather than user 9994244 with no posts and no followers, just after creating that one account just to give
I think
death,
it's terrible. Like,
you know, but I'd love to... I'm sure if they did get rid of the trolls or the fake pages or the anonymous pages and just left everyone to have you have to have your profile picture and you have to be a real person basically behind the screen, there'd still be trolls. But be real trolls, you know? So
how do you balance it? Like
social media and my personal life?
Between the trolls, like how do you know when they're attacking a brand that you've associated with to you personally, or your partner, or your family, or your dog, or how do you separate that mentally?
I find it very, very hard, because if something was wrong online, I'd always bring it home to the house, and I'd kind of my whole personality would be reflected, you know, that they'd know straight away something would be up. So I find it very difficult. In the past, I used to put way more out there basically of what's going on in my personal life, so I've kind of reeled that in as well. Because there's no positive that come from that, you know. But then again, you're kind of caught between it, because if you are using Instagram then to just be all about business, well, if I am, I'm not going to grow. You know, I grew for being obviously a bit of crack online, controversial, taking the piss. So if I don't have overexposing, so you have to kind of show the personal life. So it's really like a catch on what side to be doing, you know. But that side of it is the worst side of it, really, because if you do post so much personal stuff and something does go wrong in your personal life and it kind of gets out there, it feels like the world's on your shoulders basically, and you have to kind of let everyone and anyone under the sun know what's kind of going on, and they're giving you all sorts of messages, like 16-year-olds from Carlo saying, hey, how's things? You have to let us know what's going on here because you put your life out there so much. And you're kind of like, sorry, what? You know?
I know, it is kind of nuts. And what does your family think about like what you do? Do they understand it?
Oh, no, it's the same thing all the time. Just put the phone away and just relax. But I can't. I can't. I'm too deep in, too addicted, and I can't. I think I've deleted Instagram. How many times this weekend? I've deleted the full app, I'd say about 15 times in the last 24 hours. And I'd say out of 12 times of the 15 times I've re-downloaded. Yeah. Instantly.
Oh my God.
Like, instantly.
The other night I'm much better now. Much better putting my phone away. But back whenever I was building Bankhouse and my mum and dad used to come down to Dublin to see me, and we'd have been in the hotel, my dad would say, please put your phone away, you know, and I'd be on the phone calls, like someone might have been on a shoot, or something happened with a movie or an edit or something. And then whatever happened on that call, I would have sat it down, and then I was the fucking Antichrist.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like me and my mum and dad are very close, similar to yourself. I have no brothers and sisters. So it's like it literally just explodes, you know. And you know, whatever happened in that call, whenever I stopped drinking, I got a bit more control over it, way more control over it, and actually put the phone away. Exactly. And even the other night, we were going out for dinner in Belfast, and I was like, I'm leaving the phone in the car. Then I forgot I had to park with the parking app, and then I had to bring it. But I've got so much better just like setting it down and not having to delete the apps anymore. Just being like, I've got self-control. So I think that will come.
I know, please God though, because I'd love to do that. And I already said to myself the other day, like when I do start going out for dinner in different places, I'm going to leave my phone at home. But I think I'd have serious anxiety then of going back to the phone, you know, of trying to catch up on things. I do have sometimes anxiety waking up because I haven't been on my phone while I was asleep. You
want to try like living out in LA because you're like 7 hours behind. Yeah. So whenever I woke up in LA, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. Yeah. So my day the day and the business and everything had already been going for like 6 or 7 hours. Yeah. And then I look at my phone, it's like a fucking Christmas tree. You know, it's just this streams of all sorts. Yeah, and you're just chasing your tail then. Yeah. And then it would be gone in 5 minutes. You know, when you wake up and you're like, Jesus, there's so much going on. You can fly through it and get it back. So it's just kind of just relaxing. Yeah. But I just can't relax. Yeah. But it will come. Yeah. It will come. So if somebody out there is watching this right now and they're just about to say, do you want to know what? I do feel that I'm an expert in yoga or fitness, or I want to have my own clothing line. What do you say to them?
Or even if they're not an expert and they have it in the back of their head and it's traveling around their head for a long time, just go for it. Yeah. You know, I was only saying the other day that I'd love to do a barber course. That's been in my head for years on end. I'd love to do it. And I'm battling with myself to get the finger out to book the barber course. Yeah. And if I don't do it, I'm never going to know. I could be the best barber in the world. But if I don't, you know, would you let me cut your hair? You would not.
I've got one barber, and like I'm hopefully seeing him today. I haven't rang him yet, but like I'm in Dublin, so I'm like, but I might do. But you should do it because if you're passionate about it.
Passionate about it. It's a part-time. It'll keep me off my phone.
Yeah.
And why not? What's the bads that can come from it, you know? Yeah. So just give it a go. Fitness-wise as well, I'd love to have like my personal training like certificates, which I know are so easy to get in this day and age. 6 weeks or something you have to do. Got a massage last week. Another thing that I'd love to do. But it's just finding the time, sitting down, putting a plan in place and going after it. If it's in your head and it's been there for a while, the only person that's going to miss out is yourself.
I know, that's it. Like I'm actually in the process of building out a course because one of the things that, you know, I built quite a successful agency, you know, and I now want to teach other people how to do it because it's really easy. It's actually really easy to run a digital marketing agency. Yeah. And I get asked so many questions about it at the time, and I have so many different online courses, and I was procrastinating on that. But whenever I go, I'm heading to Thailand on Thursday. Whenever I get there, I'm 6 hours ahead of here. Yeah. So I'm going to have 6 hours on everybody. Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Time zone. So I'm just going to do it then. Yeah. You know? Yeah. How do you generate income for anybody who's never done it before with your social media? Like, what are the different options?
From social media wise, you could make money off, first off, so if you were like reaching out to a brand, for example, for the first time, again, buy the product, create cool content, tag them in it, expose it to them, send it to them, then ask them to gift it towards you if you want it, if they brought out a new sort of range and stuff like that. When it gets to the next stage, if you are showing, or ask them for even a discount code, sometimes I do that, and they can track the sales off that, and then when it comes back to it then as well, but look, I'm after getting you X, Y, and Z, this is my rate for that. That would be one example of how I'd make money anyway. Another example then would be to reach out to PR agencies to get the likes of gifting and stuff like that. They do an awful lot of gifting of candles, creams, facial things. But just again, it comes down to just buying the stuff first. You can't just jump into it. You can't just expect basically to make a fortune tomorrow by putting up a video up online. Other things that I've done would be YouTube video to create AdSense. You know, I've got paid cents. You actually do get paid cents, but it's called cents off the likes of that. But it's just creating cool content, getting it out there, being in your own type of league, where it's attracting an audience. Whatever it may be, to make some sort of money back off it. Okay.
And what about actual doing partnerships and brand deals whenever they sort of go, okay, now we trust your page? How do you quote for that? Now, again, it's whenever you're starting out in business, you have to just sort of try and work that out yourself. Everybody's different, every brand's different. But how do you go about that whenever you're opening up conversations?
Well, I actually believe, I have never looked at it, but I think there is a page or a website in which you can kind of put in your analytics and that can give you a rate back of what you should be getting. I've never used it, but I've heard of that. So that's an example of what I do. What I do if a brand came to me was ask them what their budget is. As I said to you already at the start of this, I'm really keen and mad about money. So I would do anything. Obviously, if the rate was ridiculous and they were offering me something like well below of what I've asked for, I'd kind of think to myself, am I being used and abused here type of thing. But I never try to want to overdo myself or like give something ridiculous or rate wise. So if you're asking them what their rate is, or if you're bounce a rate off and they come back, work off that and negotiate, you know, just to make sure you don't lose the job. Because if you lose the job, you're losing the money and it's going elsewhere. And then posting the content that someone else creates on their platform page, it's not going to help you grow. You know, even at that, if you're taking the lower rate, look at the positives that can come from it, and it can increase your following of people that haven't noticed you before. Yeah, I do think people are in the, I don't know what is going on, people are pricing themselves out of the market. That's what, I'd rather deal with all the work myself. You know, if you go to the agencies and stuff like that, super value comes from them and they give you a rate for one reel, 3 stories, 12, like no, 2.5 grand or something, for example. Ridiculous, they're going to say no. But if they came straight to me and they say, we have a budget of 1,500, what can you do for us? We'd like 3 stories and a reel. I was like, I'll tell you to do something. I'll do a post because I'm already there. I'll do the reel, and stories I'll do whatever I come up on my own stories again. Like I always just go above and beyond anyway. That's how you get it back. Exactly. Add more value. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's social media. It's not like you're out there labouring for 4 or 5 days straight to get something, to get your own wage back. You know, you have to just take it as a huge positive that you've got this far in life and you're getting paid off social media. It's someone's dream. I think that is
That is amazing. That is like focusing on gratitude and focusing on bringing something through that way is definitely the way forward.
Exactly.
I always say like add more value and the people will come back to you.
100%.
Whenever I had my office in Temple Bar, I had put like drop down, you know, the roll down paper, got that bolted into the wall, had the camera that I just said to the guys, how do I just link somebody up with a mic and record this? They showed me, turn those two lights on, record that. People just used to come in, pay like 700 quid, and I used to do like a whole series of videos with them, get them out, and I was in the office anyway. And one of my mates said to me, why the fuck are you doing that? That's far too cheap. I said, if I do that 3 times in a month, that's 2,100 quid.
Exactly.
Like, why would you turn that down?
Exactly.
Why would you turn that down?
Don't turn it into greed, like.
No, like literally turned over, get out, because that person's never going to have the budget to pay 2.5 grand. That's paying 700. They're never going to have it. You know what I mean? And as you said, they're going to go somewhere else. I never want my clients and my customers to go anywhere.
No.
In the agency, we're like a full done for you, SEO, websites, social media graphics, everything. Because I'm like, as soon as they go somewhere else,
You're losing it.
I could lose all that work.
Yeah, forever.
No,
they'll never
don't
come back.
Stay here. And that's what I always say, like, even if we, like, even whenever I was working with you, I was like, listen, we'll do this deal. And like, at least we even keep it within us as well, and it's collaborative. Where nobody else goes directly to a client, and then I've got the potential of losing them, you know?
100%. You're dead right.
Well, definitely, I think that you've got a lot of value to offer to someone who's just starting out. And again, I've never met anybody with the work ethic, and I don't know where that comes from. But I definitely think it's great, and thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Brilliant. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. If you want to take the next step in your evolution, whether that is mastering your mindset, starting your business, or growing your business, head to mindsetandmarketingacademy.com. You'll find our full set of online courses, including Life's a Beach, which teaches you how to start your first online business from scratch in a matter of weeks. Again, just head to mindsetandmarketingacademy.com, where you can take our free training, just 90 minutes long, on how to start your first online business with no technical skills whatsoever. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you next time on the Mindset and Marketing Podcast.